Welcome. Today we will be reviewing the Redragon Elf Pro, so let's get straight into it. Looking at the box, we see that this keyboard is gasket mounted, is also transparent, and is hot swappable, and of course, has RGB. Some of the features of this keyboard include custom Redragon crystal linear switches, of course a transparent design, RGB, a gasket mount system, hot swap capabilities, dampening foam, and 3 forms of connectivity. Now, opening up the box, we get to see a simple Redragon box, which we are accustomed to at this point. Now opening up the black box, we are first greeted with the actual keyboard in a protective sleeve. An L-shaped USB-C to USB-C cable with a USB-A adapter. A switch and keycap puller, some Redragon stickers, extra switches, and these are the custom Redragon crystal switches. And of course, the instruction manual. And now we will check out the Elf Pro. My first impressions of this keyboard is that it looks extremely different from almost any other keyboard that I've seen. On the back, we see the label describing the keyboard, a USB-C port on the left side, as well as a connectivity toggle. Since this keyboard is transparent, the RGB is much more potent than on most other keyboards. And now for a sound test with the Redragon Elf Pro. Now, when I first heard this thing, I was taken aback on how this keyboard sounded, and I truly do believe that it can hold its ground against plenty of more expensive keyboards. I did enjoy the sound quite a lot, and do believe that the dampening does an incredible job. And now we will check out the RGB, which is mentioned in the instruction manual. And now, we will take a deep dive inside the keyboard. Our first step is to take off all the keycaps. Followed by the switches and stabilizers. Then, using an electric screwdriver to take out all the screws from the back. And lastly, a small flathead screwdriver to pry the plastic off from the front of the keyboard. Now we disconnect the USB-C connection. On the back of the PCB, we also do see the battery, the hot swap sockets, as well as the connection piece. The connection switch, the dampening foam, and the back piece of the case. Now, taking off the screws from the PCB and disconnecting the battery, we have easy access to the isolated PCB, dampening foam, and plate. As we can see on the PCB, this keyboard does support 5-pin switches, which is an amazing thing to find in a keyboard at this price. The dampening foam is a nice addition and works wonders. The plate is quite standard for the most part and is made out of plastic, which could have been something that they could have worked on, but honestly, it does sound great nonetheless. Now, putting this all back together, we start with the PCB and the screws we took out. As well as the USB-C connection, followed by making sure that everything is in position, installing the screws on the back, And now we are going to do some work on the stabilizers. We can tell that these stabilizers did come pre-lubed, which would explain why they sounded so good in the sound test. Now I'll show you how to take it to the next level. The first step is to clip the extra legs of the stabilizer. And of course, to remove the factory lube. Repeat this. And we're going to lube with Krytox 205 grade 0. We also need to lube inside the walls, as well as on the small piece. And of course, the wire too. And now you have upgraded your stabilizers. Now we are going to be lubing a switch. First, we open up the switch, and it also seems as if it was factory lube. After removing all the lube, we first lube the housing with Krytox 205 grade 0. And then the spring. The stem. And lastly, the top housing. And of course, we close it up. And now you have a completed lubed switch. And now the switch sounds much better than it did factory. Now we can put back all of the switches and keycaps. Now to quickly recap this review, the Redragon Elf Pro is a keyboard that comes in at a shocking $80 US. This keyboard is quite impressive for the price, not only because it sounds so great, but it offers a gasket mount design, 3 forms of connection, which is USB-C, wired, and 2.4 GHz connection, full hot swap capabilities, custom clear switches, which are factory lubed, plenty of sound absorption, and of course, RGB. With the impressive sound that this keyboard produces thanks to the switches and the double noise dampening, this keyboard is an incredible contender for the price point, and may just be one of Redragon's best keyboards. But I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this keyboard. So if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like and comment. Thank you so much again, and I will catch you in the next one.